of Rocky Balboa, he says the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. It'll beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. So what I find interesting about you using that quote is that very often when we talk about high-performance teams, we talk about zero failure, no tolerance for failure. Everything is perfect. Everything is precise. Everything is on time. What do we do with failure?
You know, if I hear people say that, I want to kick them really hard because I think it's really silly, naive, and stupid, to be honest.
Yeah.
I might get into trouble by saying that, but hey, it's just me. For me, I think it's a programming thing again. It's about they are programmed to think and to be naive enough to think that they never make mistakes. And yet, for me, it's more about fail fast and fail often. Because the more you fail, the better you can improve your systems. You can then identify where you need to help your people. It's about identifying who you need to help with what. So I don't believe that mistakes can be so severe that it is not fixable. I believe that every mistake is fixable. I don't think you need to punish people for making mistakes and failing. I think that's just silly. I think it's more about, give them the room to fail so that you can grow through it. Because you might never know what's the next Google or wow thing that come out of that. So I think it's a limiting belief.
Okay, wonderful. No, I'm with you. If anyone's going to kill you, I'm going to come and stand between you and them because I agree with you. If we don't, you can't test the boundaries without failing, right?
If I may, I think it's to do with the schooling system that is a little bit broken in a space, because the schooling system is teaching you once you fail, you're going to stay behind on a grade. When you fail your test, you're going to stay behind. In a way, I understand why they do it, but I do think there's better ways of doing it. Perhaps they should start rewarding people for achieving and want to achieve rather than punishing people for failing, because that's programming in a negative way. It's putting people in a box. And we are much more than that to be stuck in a small, silly little box. So, yeah.
So I love that. I love that thought, because if we can carry on that trend, the other thing that I'd like to hear from you is, what do you think our school curricula, and I'm talking about, look, the world in general is basically following the same program, but what do you think our school curricula does for setting up people for success who aren't math, science, genius?
I think they are actually setting them up to fail instead of setting them up for success. Because the world is not like that. The world is actually, you need to fail. You need to learn through your mistakes, because that's where you actually learn the most. When you make a mistake, that's when you learn the most. Technology is so advanced. We've got Google, we've got AI, we've got so much out there that will help us. Now, why do you want to go and learn all those things and keep it in your head if you can use tools to help you through those things faster? I think it's a way of making everything slow. I don't know. That's just me.
I agree with you. And I remember, and you probably went through the same thing. I remember having to learn my 5 times table and saying to the teacher, but why do I need this? There's a calculator. And she said, yes, but you won't always have a calculator in your pocket. Well, now we do. So why did I have to spend time learning it? I still remember it, by the way.
Exactly. But I think it's also they didn't know what was coming.
Yeah.
Look, the one thing I agree with the school system, it's teaching you to develop your head, it's developing your mind. So that's a good thing. But to remember everything, no, there's better ways. mean, teach them how to remember stuff. I mean, great.
Mm.
But I do think there's better ways. I don't know.
So, Bertus, an interesting thing while we're on the topic of schools. So, I only know you from professional business person background. And then I open up your book, and then there's a review of your book or a mention of your book by a 15-year-old. Let me just find it here quickly. Who says that, in essence, she's going to get her friends to read this book because she didn't know that she could do this and be this. And she can see how her and her friends would be helped by, by reading the book and by practicing what's in the book. Sorry, I'm now battling to find it. But anywho, what happens when someone that young is so influenced by something that you've done? Did you see that coming? I mean, not normally the space you play in.
No, it wasn't. It was actually just out of fluke. I gave the book to a young 15-year-old, and I said, well, you're reading storybooks. Maybe try this book and tell me what you think. And then that happened. So, it was quite special to realize that the book is simple enough for a 15-year-old to understand and have that kind of impact. Because that kind of opened up my mind as well to say, wow, I wish I knew these things at 15 years old. Just imagine what was possible then. Then I might have even built and sold my business a bit sooner. Who knows? So, I do think because of this book, hopefully it can get into as many people's hands as possible to impact them and help them grow through things faster and maybe develop more high performance mindsets.
Yes, definitely, which we need a lot more of. I thought that was so special that someone that young, took to it so beautifully.
That was very special.
Indeed. So, Bertus, we also in your book, we hear about winners and whiners, and I must say, I love that. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, well, in short, the winners are the guys that's developing the high performance mindset that's not really complaining and blaming and have every excuse in the book. I call it excusitis in the book. It's probably worse than the coronavirus at the moment because it's stealing so many people's lives and livelihoods. They don't even realize how many excuses they've got. And I mean, excuses are as simple as I don't have time. That's an excuse. So, the whiners are the ones that basically will blame other people for their problems. They will complain about nonsense. They will have every single excuse in the book not to do something or to work through something, or it's always an issue. And what I found is the whiners are usually the guys that gets angry a lot at others and governments and banks and whoever. And what they don't realize is the more you get angry, the more energy you use up on nonsense. And when you become a winner and you don't get angry and you still get angry, you just don't do it as often, I would say. So, and I think that's also why they have more energy. So you'll find the whiners and the victims, they have a lot less energy, whereas the winners, they've got a lot of energy and they've got time to invest in other people. They want to grow other people. They want to help other people. And it's not like the stories and the series is where all these rich people are the bad people. I mean, it's absolute rubbish. Yeah, of course, there is a few of them that's dodgy, but it's not the norm. And I think people need to stop watching too much nonsense on TV because it creates more whiners.
Bertus, sorry, we didn't prep this question. Is there something that if I hear myself saying, because when you say to me, whiner, then I think someone who's forever blaming someone else or someone who's always the victim. Is there something that when I hear it in my head, I should take responsibility and think, whoop, stop, you whining? What is the most frequent thing you hear people say?
I think it's those limiting beliefs. Those things like I don't have time, I don't have money, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not brilliant. Those things. Whenever you think those things, you are playing the game in the whiner space.
Okay.
So then you should change that to say, well, how can I be more confident? What can I do to become more confident? It's all about becoming more confident, more successful. How can I create more time or income for my business or personal life? Yeah, I think when you hear those little thoughts in your head, be careful.
What I heard you say now is, I don't, I can't. You said, I don't,
All the
I
limiting
can't.
beliefs.
Yeah, but so the thing is, the one thing that's great about limiting beliefs, and trust me, I'm with you on how important they are, is sometimes we're so used to carrying them, we don't hear. But if you just hear
Yes.
the word, I can't, I don't, I'm unable, those are triggers already. Like Nana, when you said,
Yeah.
I'm not pretty enough, I felt for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's a normal thing. I mean, people go through it because someone at some point,
Told
maybe
them.
you were young, you were the ugly duckling. And then, when you get to high school or out of school, then the swan arrives, like what happens to some people. So, and then you'll get this beautiful people, and then they still believe they're ugly. And I'm like, you think you're ugly? Man, you haven't seen some of my family members. So yeah, I think it's all those things that's holding us back. Whatever is holding you back, that's the thing you should be careful of. And see
Okay.
how you can change your words and your thinking about it.
So I have a superhero challenge for you, because I'm on board with your book. Your book is fabulous, but COVID, we cannot deny the impact it's having. So, I get how we use your book for sort of everyday challenges, but when I'm in a challenge that's societal, that's global, in economic and political and everything, how do I get over that?
COVID is a real thing, but why does people allow it to take them over? Because they're focusing too much on the negative part of it. I mean, COVID has been a blessing in disguise for a lot of businesses because they were thinking differently about it. So it's basically, what can I control and what can I not control? So I can't control what COVID does. It's a virus, it goes everywhere. But I can control my attitude towards it. I can control what I choose to do next. So I can choose to go and sit in the corner and cry and say, well, COVID has destroyed my business. Like what, I mean, if I look at the travel industry, the events industry, I mean, those businesses are gone. They are done for. They've got all the right to complain about it. But for some of the people that I know, they decided to say, well, what can I control? What can I do differently? I can't do my events at the moment, but I can do a virtual event, or I can buy and sell different stuff, whether it's sanitizers or computers or interactive panels, or you can choose your attitude, you can choose your future. You don't have to let COVID or government control you. You can actually take control of your own environment, your own mindset, and your own economy, and create your own economy. Why do you want to entertain what the government, the world is doing? Some people are doing amazing stuff, but some people are struggling. That's in exactly the same industry, but I think it's a difference of thinking.
So I'm hearing the last chapter of your book come out there. Am I right?
Yes, the choice. It is the choices we are making. I mean, every choice have a consequence. You can either, so let me give you an example. A victim or a whiner will go and say, wow, that guy is amazing, or that woman is amazing. They've won the lotto, or they've got this fancy house or fancy car. That's what a whiner will tell you. And they will say, well, that guy is so lucky that he won the lotto, or he's created this monster of a business. But the whiner has never bought a lotto ticket. They haven't taken the right actions to build that awesome lifestyle. So the people that have the lifestyle that most people want, is they've paid the price for that. They've worked through it. They've read a lot of books, maybe even written a few books. I don't know. But they choose to do different things and take different actions. So that is for me, the main thing.
The big choice. I want to ask you, there's a saying that says done is better than perfect. When I'm facing something huge and I'm feeling demotivated, is that principle okay? Can I say I'm going to try stepping into that? I'm going to try and move forward, even if I can't do it 100%, but at least I'm going to try. How do you feel about that? Or does it have to be precisely planned and perfectly executed?
No, I think that's one of the biggest differences between entrepreneurs and other people. Entrepreneurs take action fast. And because they're taking specific action, you learn stuff. You learn what's working, what's not working. And there is no such thing as a perfect plan. I've never had a perfect plan ever in my life. But I change my plan quite often. And I think I'm driving my marketing team nuts sometimes because I change too fast in some cases. Because we are doing something and then we're like, oh, this is not working. So let me change this and let me tweak that and let's see what that does. So I think it's about just taking action, and the more action you take, the faster you learn ultimately, because there is no such thing as a perfect plan. I don't think it exists.
Well, it certainly doesn't exist in the life of COVID because things just change too often.
Absolutely. I think there's a part of my book that's talking about the space. I mean, the way they teach the people to go to space, they actually teach people how to problem solve when they are in space. How can they use that spaceship and use the things in that spaceship to survive when, the shit hits the fan? So, then you need to survive. You've got the spaceship and the stuff there to survive. So, I think it's about what do you have available to you to do what you need to in order to survive or grow or thrive. It's your choice.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's quite a learning, because I remember last year I watched a program. I can't remember the program's name, but it is about a woman who gets sent to space, and she's the first female commander, and everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and that have you not. And that's quite extreme because there's limited resources, limited people, limited everything. So I do love your approach to that. Bertus, one last question. This luck thing, have we spoken about it enough, or is there something that we still need to say about it?
Yeah, I hear a lot of people say, I'm lucky, and I'm like, no, I don't believe in luck. I do believe that we create our own luck. I think it's, what's his name, that golfer now, I forgot his name.
Gary Player? Any else?
Gary Player, that's the one I was looking for. I mean, he's just saying the more he's practicing, the luckier he gets.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
It just makes sense. So it's about creating your own luck. Just do. Just do, and you'll see. I mean, create your own luck. We human beings are amazing. We can create things. We can create Apple laptops or Windows laptops or fancy pens or fancy cars and spaceships. We can create stuff, and I believe that you can create everything you want. I'm not going to a religious thing here. It's just your business mindset stuff. It's all about create your own luck, because the more you learn, the luckier you will get, the better choices you can make, smarter choices you will make, more productive choices. And then I think ultimately it's about building the correct habits.
And from what you said earlier, collaborating.
Yes. And I think it's an important thing that I've just mentioned here. The luckier you will get depends on what habits you create. Because the better your habits are, the more success habits you develop or high performance habits you develop, the luckier you will get.
Ah.
So there's something big around habits that people miss. And habits is extremely important when it comes to success and kind of everything, honestly.
Do you think that COVID has messed with our habits because they've pulled us out of our regular routines?
Oh, absolutely. I know it messed with my health habits quite a bit. So yeah, I enjoyed going to the gym. I had a gym routine. I had a bio. I had an awesome routine. And then level 5 lockdown hit us for a month. You couldn't set foot at your house. And I was like, I was in that space. I didn't go out and I didn't do stuff. Only a few months later, I bought myself an outdoor gym again. And now it's about developing new habits again. I picked up some weight that I need to get rid of. And man, it messes with your habits. And it's about then, okay, now I need to find new habits again.
Yes.
New habits that will work for my new environment, because now we are sitting at home, building a global business from home, but we're not leaving home as often. We used to get into our car, drive to the office, walk around in the office, do your thing, and we're not doing that anymore. So the habits and the lifestyle has completely changed. Now we probably need to do more exercises during the day. So yeah, it definitely messes with my habits.
It's really interesting because I'm used to working from home because I did it for 14 years. And even with me, but just for a bit of context for our viewers, in South Africa, when we went into level 5 lockdown, not only weren't we allowed to exercise, we weren't even allowed to walk in the streets. So you couldn't walk your dog, you couldn't jog on your own, you couldn't cycle on your own. Gyms were closed. So Bertus had a pretty big mountain to cross there. I immediately switched to WhatsApp Pilates classes. So that saved me a little bit. But
fair enough.
I find it very challenging to structure a day, because normally working from home, there would be my structure, which might not be that tight, but the clients would have tight structures. Now they don't have good structures. I've got to take responsibility for myself.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's very true. Oh man, yeah. You see, even I was in a victim space that first month.
But you proved that you bounced back.
Yeah, no, we bounced
There we
back,
go.
but
We bounced back.
it was still a tough journey because it was all different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Bertus, thank you so much. It has been absolutely fabulous speaking to you. Love your book. I'm going to put a link to, I know you've given me, where we can purchase it. We've got the download. We've got the little intro for it. I'm going to add that all to the session notes. But thank you so much for being an absolutely fabulous guest. This has been a really interesting time. So thanks again. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Innocent. This was awesome. I really enjoyed it. And I think just to help you and your viewers a bit, I'm going to give you a code that you guys can use. It's called Pre-Performance Cafe 2021. So you'll get a 25% discount on the book if you buy it through PayPal. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Awesome. Well, normally our gift is our great guests. They don't still give us promo codes for their books as well. And as you guys know, I'm an avid reader, so I've only read about first 4 chapters or so of the book, so I'm really looking forward to getting to the rest of it. Thanks again to Bertus for his time and for his generosity with his learnings and his information and his promo code as well. As always, for those of you who join us from YouTube, if you like us, please hit subscribe below, and then also click on the notification bell so you know when the next Coffee Companion or Perspective is on your way. For those of you who are joining us from LinkedIn and Facebook, it's so great to have you here. Thank you for joining us, and please like, share, and comment, and then go to YouTube and subscribe. And then I look forward to seeing you at the next Performance Cafe.